And you have just crossed the line. End of debate. Report to the cargo bay and remain there until this is over. Is that understood?
You know,
We're doing part one, right?
because
Just part one.
Miss Matinga feels like little Miss Sassmouth. What?
Yes.
No, I don't think so. Oh wow,
Little.
you froze for a second, but like in an amazing shot though. It's
So
fabulous.
did
Oh,
you.
good. But so did
Me?
you.
Maybe
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. No, you.
Me?
No, you.
Yeah.
No,
You.
you do it. No, you do it, darling.
You.
Well,
No, I don't think so.
Miss Matinga, I like your shirt, but you know that's a different show, right?
It is a different show, but I've already worn the Fire Chakotay shirt, so I'm just flossing some of our merch. We've got lovely merch.
We do. So, listeners, if you can't see the visuals that we are seeing, and
Because you got to give them visuals.
consider yourself lucky. Matinga is wearing a Learn It shirt, which is one of our homework catchphrases, but we also have Fire Chakotay merch. But before we start pimping that shit out, let's do some content, yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Booby, just a quick question though, unrelated to sci-fi. Are you working on the guns? Because your guns look big lately. Like you're rocking those guns, girl.
Trying.
Go on. Are you doing it at home or you hitting the gym?
Hitting the gym.
Go on, girl. Don't hit him too hard. I hear he's a nice guy.
Well, that kind of quality content does.
Yes.
No,
That's clam.
I don't think so.
That's clam.
That's clam.
That's clam.
That's clam chowder. Before we get into Fire Chakotay, I want to circle back to something we did on an unrelated show, a different episode completely that viewers and listeners of this may not even ever see. Matinga, first of all, I'm going to smack that stank look right up your face. That's number one. Number two, girl, you froze in the most stank. I have to take a picture of this because that is classic.
I did not. I did was doing the booby trick.
Wow.
Doing
That
the
was
booby trick,
amazing. You were
girl.
completely,
That was good.
You were, darling, immobilized like wax, darling. I mean, the smirk and everything. Your marionette lines were like etched in gold.
It was hard too. Though I wanted to blink so bad.
Fabulous, darling. But what I was gonna say was, and it's kind of sci-fi related, about the boys.
Yes.
Right.
You're gonna love it, and it's the last thing I'm gonna say about it. There is like a Wonder Woman-esque character in it.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say
Maeve.
anything, Miss Maeve. I'm not gonna say anything else about it.
You know
than
what?
that.
I will watch the first episode tonight.
Yes, I think you'll like it. I really do.
I'll watch the first episode tonight. Watch, if you have the ability, watch Lovecraft Country.
Yeah.
It's on my
Good.
list. It's on my list, darling. The never-ending list, darling.
It's on your list. Your list.
You must persist.
This
Because
must
your fist-
persist.
Okay, so this
because
is Fire.
your list, it must persist.
This is
Sorry.
Fire Chakotay. I am Mike Diamond.
This is Miss Matinga.
This is Miss Booby.
Yes.
This is the most clam-centric Star Trek podcast in the quadrant.
Oh, we're the three clammiest
Oh,
Voyager
clammy.
podcasters of all.
Who threw that clam? And we are in season 4. And
is correct.
today we are talking about Star Trek Voyager season 4's episode Year of Hell Part 1.
So it came out November 5th of 1997. It's season 4, episode 8.
And I gotta say, I love this episode. I remember this episode. It's a real doozy because I have so many issues with the time continuum things that Voyager pulls.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like a time thing is one time jump there and one time jump back. This is time jumps, time jumps, time jumps.
I get so confused.
So it gets like
I got so confused. And I watched this, I don't know, 2 nights ago. And then I kind of put it on again today in the background while I was doing my thing.
I watched it this morning.
And I'm still slightly confused. And I enjoyed the episode. Don't get me wrong. So I think it might be a challenge for me to go plot point by plot point. So maybe we can kind of give like the outline of what's going on and some key moments.
Yeah, I would say I have 2 questions that I'm going to pose to you guys in 1 second. But
No,
I would say that
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. But you know, it's so stank. But I would say that a plot supposition, not supposition, but a little plot outline would be Voyager encounters an alien race called the Krenim that has temporal technology that they use to wipe their enemies from existence.
Yes.
And change the timeline. And that's kind of the overview. But honey, these people are fucked up. Like the dude, and I want to say though that the main Krenim guy, Anorax, is Kurtwood Smith, who's the dad on that 70s show.
And Red.
He's Red, and the whole time I'm like, dude, like, who is this dude? He looks so familiar. Because on that 70s show, he's like this curmudgeon-y but funny, like kind of like him. Guy. And then here, like, he is a totally different character.
I've never seen that 70s show.
Oh my God.
And
it's
also,
such a good show.
I thought this character's name was Anorexia. I swear to God.
Anorexia.
I was like,
Anorexia.
Well, he don't look that skinny.
He was also in one of the Star Trek movies. He had what's his name again?
Kurtwood Smith.
He was in Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country.
Yes.
Oh, does he play the president?
He plays the president of the Federation.
Yes.
Oh, unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Totally.
Unrecognizable.
Totes McGoats.
Yeah. Good.
Do you know who else?
Journeyman actor.
Journeyman, darling. Journeyman. Do you know who else is almost unrecognizable? Captain Catherine Janeway, suddenly rocking a short hairdo.
Looking cute.
Yes.
And that was one of my questions. Is this the debut of the new hairdo?
Yeah,
well,
the new Doom.
Yes, but with a caveat, because you go down the rabbit hole. I came across some blog or website that like had a thing about all of Janeway's hairstyles. At some point in season 2, she kind of slightly had this for like 1 or 2 episodes, like a variation on it. And in the original pilot for Caretaker, she used her real hair, which was shoulder, and they had to redo all of it because the studio lights were like not making it look great. And then they did the updo bun and had to reshoot half of that pilot.
So the updo bun is a wig.
Well, for the first 2 seasons, it's her hair. And then there's like a French twist side braid thing where they add pieces.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you a link to this because like these people do a deep dive about Janeway's hairstyles.
This hairstyle I like so much better.
I love it.
The bun was cute, but I like the bun. The bun definitely says captain.
Yeah,
but I
uptight.
like this one. It's uptight, but this one is so. It's just so much like fresher. It's very fresh.
The bun to me always said like Little House on the Prairie school teacher. Do you know what I mean?
Very bad, but
like
it definitely said
mom.
but in control kind of thing.
But I love this look, the short and sassy. I've got no time for this bullshit hair.
Yes.
Because when your ship is under attack, bitch, don't worry about your bun. Just go.
Just go.
Just go. So the episode opens not with Janeway and company, but with the president of the Federation and a hot alien. Dude, what was his name? Orson?
Oh, yeah.
He is kind of cute. He is kind of
cute.
I forget his name.
He's cute.
Ova.
He's Ova. What's his name? Is his name Orbital? Or Original? Origami?
I could find it for you.
Awesome? His name is Awesome.
I feel like
Whatever.
It's Orson.
He's real cute. He's like soap opera cute. He looks kind of like a more milky version of Antonio Sabato Jr.
Right.
But like a whiter version, like an Italian version.
Or a cute Lorenzo Lamas kind of deal.
Oh, Lorenzo Lamas, honey. No, come on. That's another category. Don't sleep.
But you know, Miss Antonia Sabato's a nasty Republican.
She's a nasty right wing nut. I mean, would I suck it now?
Not that we are knocking Republicans.
Yes, we are.
No,
I am.
Suck it. Maybe on that time ship, you could suck it for 200 years.
I'd be like, yeah, Orbital, give it to me, honey. Get my time continuum to flow. Honey. Okay, but so listen. So it starts with these two.
Yeah.
We have
anorexia
anorexia and fake Antonio Sabato Jr.
Yes.
In a Krenim vessel fucking with the timeline over and over. Clearly, they have some kind of objective, which is to get the time continuum to a certain point that they want it to be at. And in the course of doing this, they have these super weapons, and they like wipe out entire species, entire planets, entire timelines. Like,
but it changes the entire like quadrant of space.
Although they are protected
the
somehow
time.
from the effects within this ship.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
chronal shields.
Right.
And the captain has a very specific reason for doing it that we won't discuss
until episode 2. Right.
Yes. Also, I have one more question. Is this the first appearance of Astrometrics?
Yes.
Yes.
This is the very first appearance of Astrometrics. Yo, Robert Picardo hamming it up
So
in Astrometrics. It literally made me LOL.
When I was first activated, and I found myself mano a mano with the Delta Quadrant, I didn't think we'd survive a week, let alone 3 years.
He's hamming it up, and there's
mano a mano at the Delta Quadrant.
Oh my god! And then at one point, and then Miss Janeway is hamming it up too because she thinks like he breaks into his speech, and they're like all like whatever, and then like she thinks that he's done, and she's like, oh, that's wonderful, and she's literally like,
bye bye.
And he keeps on going, and she keeps on going. She kind of just goes.
Yes, and then when they try to contact her from the bridge or whatever, she hits that communicator's badge so fast.
So fast.
I invite you all to recall the moment
Bridge
when
to the captain.
Janeway here.
We're being hailed. A vessel off the port bow.
On our way.
She's like, guess what is it? She's like, get me out of here. So they're an astrometrics.
It's so good.
So they're an astrometrics where 7 of 9 and Harry Kim, Jerry Ryan, and Garrett Wang have collaborated and teamed up. No, it's Wang.
Is it Wang?
It's Wang. It's not Wang. It's
Garrett Wang.
I think you're Wang.
No,
don't. It's W-A-N-G.
But it's Wang. It's so Wang is white.
But it's Wang. By the way, you guys actually got to talk to and hang with Garrett Wang a little bit.
Wang,
excuse me.
Honey, if loving you was Wang, I don't want to be white.
I don't want to be white.
Yes,
exactly.
I took part in Trekkie Feud as part of Gays in Space, and the other day, I haven't seen it yet, but it was super fun. I was on Team Garrett, and by the way, we slayed, honey.
I bet you did.
Yes, we killed it. It was a lot of fun. Awesome. So they're in astrometrics, and suddenly they're all called away, much to their relief, because the doctor's going on and on and on.
And then they're headed out, and like the doctor's like, well, maybe we could reconvene later.
Yeah.
And even Neelix is like, bitch, please.
And like
He turns around and is like,
Neelix tries to just like saddle past him a little bit.
Like,
It's
But
so good.
Notice that like they contact Janeway, but she's, except for Neelix, she's the last one to leave. Catch it.
Yeah.
Why? For what reason?
Yeah.
Anyway, so what happens on the bridge?
So they go up to the bridge and
they're being attacked.
Hold on. Is it an attack?
Yeah, they're being fired upon.
So they're being threatened by a Krenim vessel.
No, it's not a Krenim vessel. It's
is
the other species.
No,
in
bitch.
That,
No, it's Krenim.
Or is it
It's Krenim, girl. It's Krenim.
Vessel?
It's
Okay.
Krenim
Like
in a weakened timeline.
Yeah,
I knew this episode was going to confuse the hell out of me.
This episode is so dense with story.
Yeah,
that's
why I'm thinking
kind
like
of hard.
we can't hit every point. Let's just give the outlines.
So they run up and
that I would have sex with Orbit or whatever his name is.
Yes, but it's like a little rinky dink.
Like I'm doing him a favor or something.
Yeah,
I would have.
She's like,
huh?
Yeah, and the captain is very like.
The captain's like, Tuvok's like, yo, their weapons are like really tired, and Janeway's like, ugh, really? Do we have to deal with these people? And so the Krenim dude is like, you are violating our space, our boundaries. I don't feel comfortable. This is my safe space. You need to dash.
Right. And they're like, look, we need to get through your space. And he's like, no, I don't think so.
That is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Janeway's like, yo, unless you've got something bigger in your torpedo tube.
Yep.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Which Chakotay Kiki's at?
Yeah.
With all due respect, unless you've got something a little bigger in your torpedo tubes, I'm not turning around.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, you just said he got a small dick, yo. What up, Kathy?
Yeah.
Bring it.
And she's seen Chakotay's piece, and we know it's big.
Right, honey. Then there's a member of the tall species.
Yeah.
Shows up.
In the very next
scene, there's a member of the tall species who are the sworn enemies of the Krenim. But in this timeline, the tall are in charge.
In control of the dominant, yeah.
Okay. And the Krenim are kind of wounded.
Right.
And actually, he seems very welcoming and
I
really
think he
like,
seems very smug.
Smug, but also he's like, yeah, come through our space. We're interested in like finding out all about you.
Right.
But it's a welcome. It's not like a, you know.
Right.
And he's very dismissive of the Krenim. He's like, oh, please, chow, please. They're nobody.
That's what I mean about smug. That's what I mean about smug.
Right.
So then Janeway and smug alien tall species are on the bridge when this annoying mosquito-like Krenim comes back, and he's like, "Oh, you're consorting with my enemy, bitch. What about it? My enemy, bitch. What about it? Okay." And then something comes out of space.
Right. So meanwhile, while this is happening, the Krenim time ship is doing another incursion on another planet, but that, of course, changes the timeline for this entire quadrant. Right, and the Voyager can see that there is a temporal incursion headed toward them, so they brace for impact. When they get impacted by this temporal incursion, the Tall disappears, and the little tiny bullshit Krenim ship that was outside trying to attack them suddenly becomes a giant warship. And time suddenly just changes. Now, mind you, they don't even remember Tall and blah, blah, blah. Now they're just in the middle of a pitched battle. And what I liked, actually, was the same actor is playing the Krenim captain on this warship. But when you first encounter him and they don't have a lot of power, he's kind of like rinky-dink and his energy is very like, no, so. But then once the temporal incursion happened, now he's leaning back in his chair and he's like, no, da, 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 da. And the actor completely becomes grand. And I thought it was like a nice modulation of the performance. And also you suddenly realize, oh, now these people are in power and they are fucking Voyager up.
But you know what?
They're fucking Voyager up.
Do you know what so confused me at this point? And when we come into this reality timeline, Voyager is damaged and disarray. There's damage on the bridge. They're all gasping. What confused me was, does this Janeway on the damaged Voyager, they have no memory of the Tall timeline with the Tall dude. Okay. So they're just suddenly in the middle of it, right?
Exactly, because what they start remembering the previous timelines after 7 is able to bring those temporal shields online, which happens much later because then they aren't affected by the time shifts. But here, they totally it shifts and now they're in a completely different timeline and they don't remember yet.
And the dude on the Krenim ship, that's anorexia, right?
Yeah.
First,
he doesn't remember either.
He doesn't remember either. So this is where I get so confused. So then weak Anorax didn't exist anymore, nor did put together Voyager with the new astrometrics lab.
No, Anorax is on the time ship. On the other Krenim ships, so then it's like a different Krenim guy. That's a Krenim captain guy.
I think that's a different actor. I'm not bright enough to handle time paradox situations.
Yeah, but it's not the same two guys.
I enjoyed it, but I was like, what has happened?
That's a completely different. No, but I have another question though. Remember that this is a sequel to an earlier episode of
Before
Voyager,
and After, right?
Before and After, where Kes warns them that they are going that they are going to meet the Krenim, and she tells them how to defeat those temporal torpedoes. How is it that they don't remember? Well,
now scuttlebutt on the web is that there was a cut scene in the beginning where Janeway references that, and for some reason it was taken out. Quick side detour about that episode Before and After.
Yeah.
I spoke to my mom the other day, and she had just watched that episode recently also, and we were having a laugh about it.
Your mom is awesome.
She is awesome. She also told me she just started watching Deep Space Nine. My brother convinced her to watch it, and now she's just starting season 2, and she's kind of gagging how good it is.
Really?
I'm like, yes.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Once we finish Voyager, we're going to start Deep Space Nine.
I'm down with that.
But I was like, I was so delighted. I was like, Mom, I'm so proud of you for watching Deep Space Nine. And I was like, has Cisco shaved his head yet or no? She's like, no, he has hair. I said, you text me when he shaves his head and then we're going to talk.
Because then that's the Cisco you don't fuck with.
Yes. So it
But
was a
just
nice little conversation with my mom.
Also, one little sad little point of fact is that, many years ago, it is now gone, but it was there for like 15 years. There was an experience in Las Vegas where they had rebuilt the promenade from Deep Space Nine. There were a couple virtual reality rides. They did this entire Trek experience in Vegas, and the entire promenade, including Quarks and all those, was there. You could go. Yeah, you could go get a suit from Garrick's. You could get a Ractigino, but it is gone now, unfortunately.
Oh.
Wow.
Anyway, little side note. It's like, yay, go mom. Okay, so Janeway on damaged Voyager talking to superpowered Krenim evil guy on the time ship, and they're going at it because clearly Janeway just wants to get through their space, and he's like, no, I don't think so.
Well, I mean...
Wait. I think we skipped the part where they upgraded their shields.
No, because first she's like, yo, we're trying to get through your space, and all we get are weapons fired. No hails, whatever. And he's like, get ready for a boarding party.
Yeah, you're not talking about anorexia.
No, that's anorexia.
No, that is not anorexia.
That's not the same guy?
No, it's two different guys.
Oh, God, I'm not smart enough for this show.
It's two different guys. It's the captain of the Krenim ship, and then there's Anorax on the time ship.
But they
do look alike, but except that the captain on the time ship is way older.
All I know is that I would do Antonio Sabato Jr., fake, real, or otherwise. You guys talk about the plot. I'm just going to chime in on who's hot and who's not. Go.
So basically he's like, we're going to take your ship, either prepare to be boarded, I'll let your people live, or blah, 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 blah. And she's like, I don't deal with threats, but they haven't figured out they haven't devised a plan of attack yet. Voyager. They are at a loss. They're being completely devastated. In the middle of this, there is a moment. There's actually two moments. There's a moment where they just turn tail and they run, and the ship is just devastated.
Gasping.
They have lost entire decks. In fact, at one point, Chakotay goes to her and says, do we eject from the ship and just try and meet up on the other side of Krenim space? We all head in different directions and we'll all have a better chance of escape. She's like, no, we're better as a cohesive unit. And then we switch to
one crew, one mission,
one crew,
one hairstyle. I'm not breaking up the family, Chakotay.
As long as Voyager's in one piece, we stay.
And it's also like a moment where, and he has said this to her before, that sometimes she can't see the forest for the trees and she doesn't know when to step back. She's pushing and pushing and pushing. And, even at one point he gives her a birthday present, a beautiful watch.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, no, this is a meal. This is a hypo spray.
This is a pair of boots.
That watch represents a meal, a hypo spray, or a pair of boots. Could mean the difference between life and death one day.
Yeah, I replicated this months and months ago. Yeah, and
Chakotay.
But it's like you can tell that she is losing it. She's losing perspective.
Because her ship is falling apart. I think by that point a crew member had died.
Many crew members.
And then also she's like, Chakotay, that could be a meal, a hypo spray, a pair of boots. Also, with that mustache, you look hot. Do me in my pecan pie right now.
Right
and then
now.
There's a cute scene where B'Elanna and
But didn't
Kim,
he look hot with the mustache?
He did, and covered in grease.
Bitch.
So hot. There's a cute little scene between...
Give me that stopwatch. I'll make it stop ticking. I'll make time go backwards.
Okay. Give me that stopcock.
Hold up. How weird that they're having time problems, and he gives her a watch. That's interesting.
Right?
Well, because it was a recreation
I know, but
watch.
it's on the theme of time.
Right.
And she's like, I don't want that.
But there's just also a little cute scene between B'Elanna and Kim. They're trapped on a turbo lift and they're playing a game,
Trivial
Pursuit. And then 7 of 9 saves them. But the last question that had been asked was, was what was the name of Cochrane's ship. And then Seven shows up, she gets them out, and she's like, the ship was the Phoenix. She clearly heard them talking. The ship was the Phoenix. And B'Elanna says to her, oh, I didn't know you knew that much about Earth history. And she goes, oh, the Borg were present for those events. And those are the events
where the Borg was there.
Of First Contact. So I thought it was like a cute little contact. And they look at her like, no, they were. And she's like, it's a long story. We'll talk about it later.
Right.
So
it's a nice little Trekkie reference.
There's a cute little Trekkie moment right there. And then also, by this point, Tuvok is blinded because Seven finds the torpedo that was also a plot point in that last episode with Kes, and it explodes and blinds Tuvok.
Right.
And so she becomes Tuvok's little helper. But at this point, this is when Seven is able to figure out the chronoton frequency, and then she's able to jigger the force fields to
or the shields.
The force fields, the shields to prevent their attacks, but the ship is still totally screwed.
It's a chronoton weapon, a torpedo perhaps, lodged into the side of the ship. It's the same chronoton weapon that Kes saw in that before and after episode, and it's a 1.47 microsecond variance. In both episodes, it's the same thing.
Right.
Because it's the same torpedo.
Right, but in this reality, Seven finds it. And by the way, Seven killing it this episode.
Killing it.
And so Tuvok ends up blind, shaving in front of a cracked mirror. Also, if he's blind, why is he in front of a mirror?
Why is he shaving?
Well, that's because the water's there.
Yeah, but why is he in front? The mirror cracked, darling. And so Seven comes in and she's like, I'll shave you. And I mean, I'll shave you.
All of you.
And he's like, no, I don't think so.
But I was gonna say Shevin.
Shevin. Hey.
Being super helpful and like really integrating into the crew, super nice. It's it's a great episode for her.
I love when she and Tuvok are walking in the hallway and she's helping him walk. Their conversation back and forth about how humans are kind of messy and this and that and the other.
And
I love those two together.
Yeah, because they're both
logical and dry. I would watch just those two go off on an adventure.
The Seven and Tuvok show.
Fabulous.
It could happen.
Oh,
it's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
It's not impossible because Seven is. It's entirely likely that Seven's going to do the second season of Picard, and then they're going to give her a Rangers television show. Right. And who knows who could show? Everybody could show up. Garrett could show up. Tuvok could show up.
Right. Cass could show. Oh.
When did
Kate could show up as the character from Orange is the New Black.
Red. Yes.
Red. Yeah, on Speed.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
That'd be so dope.
When does the part happen where the doctor's getting people to evacuating people, and he holds the door open for two others, but he can't hold it long enough for them because the deck is about to explode, so he closes it, sentencing those two people to death?
Yeah, he has to sacrifice them.
It's so plot heavy with so many little twists. I'm not even sure where that happens.
It happens somewhere in there.
In the first half,
in the middle. But
there's a countdown, and he has to, close off part of the ship, and in doing so, two crew members that couldn't make it in time died. I think was it two crew members?
Yeah.
Good of the many outweighs the good of the one.
And the doctor and Paris have a scene in sickbay where first the doctor's kind of coming for Paris because, there are other patients besides B'Elanna.
Because B'Elanna's cracked her spinal cord.
Her vertebrae.
But he's like, well, she's in pain, but she's not.
She's not in danger of dying.
She's not in danger of dying. So, and then Paris is like, don't pop off at me. I think you're the one with the problem. And the problem. And then, the doctor, when he's giving his speech in Astrometrics, doesn't he say something like, we're all getting along. Vulcans, humans, even Mr. Paris.
Even Mr. Paris.
He's reading.
A hologram.
Reading, yeah. It's so good.
Lovely
and
shade.
I don't think he meant it as shade.
That's why it was so funny.
A hologram, a Borg. Even Mr.
Paris.
Even Mr. Paris. And then you look at Tom's face, and Tom just kind of goes,
like, what? Anyway, so then the doctor tells him the story about how he had to, unfortunately, not sacrifice those two crew members, but he had to save everybody else, and those two people died. So
and just like in And just like in that, and just like in that previous episode, also Neelix becomes security. So there's that as well. Yeah, so I thought it was a nice hard back.
When Neelix asks Tuvok about, should it say intruder alert or gag, there's an alien on board or whatever about the notification.
Right.
Is he doing that just to make Tuvok feel useful?
No.
Maybe.
So he's for real.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think he's for real. Because Tuvok is still doing his job.
Okay.
Like Tuvok might be blind, but he's still security chief.
Okay.
He's still like, it's clear that he's like, he's probably relearning how to do stuff, but like he's still doing his gig.
Like they give Tuvok a tactile control on the bridge so he can still function and operate. And so Seven and he are walking in the hallway, and she's going to do rounds with him and then take him to deflector control because she's figured out a solution or possible solution, which is some kind of temporal shielding that keeps them immune to the Krenim attacks. So Tuvok's on the bridge, and Seven is down in deflector control, and Janeway's like, make it happen, Seven. Yeah. And she does.
Anytime now,
Seven.
And she makes it happen, but at this point, Voyager is so devastated that they still have to run for their lives. And at this point, she finally decides, okay, the ship is too damaged. It's time to send the majority of the crew away, in escape pods and just leave a little tiny skeleton crew on Voyager. To see what they can do, because there's no food, there's no, most of the decks aren't operable, so they do in fact send the crew away in these little escape pods.
But there's a conversation before that where Janeway and
Chakotay,
Anorax are having a conversation, and he says to her, wait, let me remember it now. After they get the shielding, right? And she says something like, you'll find that we're not prone to your attacks anymore.
Right.
I'm trying to remember, how does it come about that they even come to his attention?
Because the Krenim attack a civilization, and in the process of attacking the civilization, because the ship of Voyager is being shielded by this Chronotalk field, right? Chronotalk field.
Hey.
The Chronotalk field.
What?
Funny.
That the bad guys don't take into account because they have no idea that the ship is protected from the Chronotalk.
Because they keep the Krenim on the time ship keep redoing these temporal incursions in order to get to this point. And every time they do, sometimes they're better off, sometimes they're worse off.
Right.
Voyager now is unaffected by it, as they are.
Right.
And that
and Voyager is an anomalous thing in like the equations.
Right, that they didn't take into account.
They decide to destroy Voyager because it is this anomalous thing.
Right, okay. So Voyager's falling apart. Oh, and Orbit, or whatever his name is, doesn't he say to the Krenim leader at some point, listen, we're 98% timeline restored. Let's call it a day.
Restored. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and they've been on the ship for 200 years.
Right. Looking pretty good for that.
Because they're being sheltered
from
aging. Time, and so that's when you realize that the captain of the Krenim vessel is not only is he selfish and cruel, he has a personal agenda.
Right.
Because if they're able to restore 97% of what had been lost, 98% of what had been lost
of their empire,
that's almost everything.
But he asks about. Everything. So when the guy says, "Oh, we're 98% restored," and Anorax is like, "What about Kiana Prime?" And the kid's like, "No, sorry."
So what was on Kiana Prime?
His wife.
And also, Kiana Prime, my new drag name.
Miss Kiana Prime.
Miss Kiana Prime, darling.
No,
honey,
I don't think so.
The prime of Miss Kiana Brody.
Bitch, and when I get my heavy flow, I use temporal shielding, darling.
But you would have to.
Oh, trust. Okay, so...
But I will say, fucking dense story.
So dense.
Episode.
So as this confusing, dense, logistical, plot holy, time skippy, short hair Antonio Sabato episode comes to its close, temporal incursions are happening. The crew is taking off in time pods. No, escape pods, time pods.
Escape pods.
Except for a skeleton crew that's going to stay on Voyager, and Chakotay and Paris have been snatched off the ship.
By the Krenim temporal ship.
There's so
Right.
much going on in this episode.
Yeah. It's not only is it's heavy and it's dense.
Right.
But like the entire, I watched it this morning, and
Me too.
Like
Was it confusing?
Oh yeah.
I was following
me.
it, but it did have some confusing plot points. But I will say it had like almost like a theatrical thing about it.
Oh, the special effects are great.
It's so grand. Like
It's kind
a
of
big,
sweeping.
yeah, it's a big story they're trying to tell.
And it takes place over, let's say, is it like 75
year.
days or something?
Yeah, they're
Well, no,
only
well, this is-
75 days in.
Right. This is the Year of Hell, part 1.
Part
So,
1, darling.
Throughout the episode, it'll say day 4, day 20, whatever. So clearly this is like months of this onslaught.
And kind of, I know we want to keep this timeless, but talk about a year of hell.
I know.
We're kind of having our own year of hell.
Although not quite as
With-
bad as Janeway.
Not quite as bad as that, but
Right.
but we're having a pandemic year of hell.
Yes,
So
we are.
I was having that kind of like shit, like we're all going down in flames.
And I like missing there was a bug.
Oh.
A Year of Hell, darling, whatever. And before they all take off in their little escape pods, Janeway gives a rousing speech to her family, her crew, about,
yes.
make friends if you can, find food, find a better ship, and when we meet up again, and we will meet up
And
again.
we will. And there's almost like an emotional in her voice, like almost like on the verge of tears.
Cable Grew again, nailing it this episode.
Yeah.
So good.
Nailing it for the whole episode.
I mean, really selling it. She's like, I want to hear some interesting stories.
You will proceed to the escape pods and evacuate this vessel. I expect all of you to be in one piece with some interesting stories to tell.
Yeah.
So she's
and
really...
Seven is also nailing it.
They're all great. I mean,
They're all nailing it.
They're all nailing it. But, this is Janeway's episode, man.
Yeah.
Is her, because she is gasping and she's mad.
But it also does play into the fan theory that Janeway is fucking crazy. She's just too close sometimes and she can't see the forest for the trees.
Or is the Janeway that gets home at the end, supposedly, is that an alternate timeline Janeway? Is crazy Janeway a different Janeway and from a different timeline?
It is a different Janeway. Remember that there's a Janeway that comes back in time to save the other Janeway.
So much time
at the end of the show.
Fuckery. So much time fuckery. So the Janeway that was this is so crazy. So the Janeway that was in Astrometrics in the beginning is
not
a
the same
different
Janeway.
timeline than the Janeway that's like, this is a pair of boots, this is a croissant, right?
Right.
So
It's
maybe
a completely different
maybe
Janeway.
second Janeway is crazy bipolar Janeway, and other Janeway is normal, I'm gonna go home and see my puppies Janeway.
Right.
I don't know. I found this so confusing and intriguing. I really did.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. So there will be Year of Hell Part 2, which we're clearly not doing today. But this was
And
the
we
Year of
promise
Hell
that that
Part 1.
episode will be more cohesive.
Or not.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Who can
No, it
say,
did.
darling? And we might have special guest Kiana Prime.
Miss Kiana Prime.
Darling,
Which is really just Dan Deevy's drag name.
Exactly. Oh, you know what?
Miss-
He'll take
Miss
it.
Kia- He'll take it. I know he will.
Yeah. Hold up. Wait a
Wait a
minute.
minute.
Put
Let us
some
put some-
Kiana Prime in it. Yes. All right. So if you have been enjoying Problematic Track Podcast, feel free to hit us up on Patreon and Venmo. We are Workshop, WERQSHOP. That's Workshop, to support the content.
That's right. And please like and subscribe to us.
Please.
Please. Also, hit that bell icon up there so that you are informed each and every time we put out a new piece of material.
If you're watching on
And
YouTube.
If you happen to be watching on
Because if you're
YouTube.
listening, then you just
That's right.
You just want to rate and review and get into it.
That's correct.
Get into our ooh la la, our pecan
Get into
pie,
the
our
ooh
clam.
la la. Hopefully you don't start your listening with this particular episode.
Do you know
Because
what,
we're much
darling?
more concise
Honey, we're
on
keeping
other
it,
episodes.
we're keeping it loosey goosey. I think we hit the main points. Time is crazy.
Fucked up.
Janeway's hair is short. Tuvok is
Yes.
blind.
Tuvok is blind.
Tuvok is blind. Yo, also, we have merch. We have Fire Chakotay merch. Feel free to hit us up on teespring.com/stores/workshop for all our beautiful Fire Chakotay merchandise, shirts, masks, backpacks, all of it, darling,
All of it.
Okay, so we're going to do the whole episode over.
Oh, well, so who? For real?
Miss Booby just suggested we do the entire episode over.
I can't do it.
Ba-dum-bum, ba-da-ba.
But do you feel like you have enough?
I feel that was the sloppiest episode ever. But
honey, you got 3 sloppy bottoms.
But I got my point across that Chakotay looks hot with that mustache.
Yes.
That's right.
Honey, he really does.
And an orbital.
Socket, whatever the fuck his name is.
Well, what didn't help, not to put you on the spot, was that you didn't realize that Anorax and the other captain are different people.
That's what I'm saying. This is so confusing to me. Episode, the time things are so confusing, and those actors look alike. Guys.
Are you saying all white people look alike?
Well, no, I'm not saying that. That would be racist. I'm saying those 2 actors looked alike. And also, I'm hungry and dehydrated, and I got blasted by the sun. And
I think there's enough for you to. I think this episode should be like 20 minutes, and it should just be us.
20 minutes is the intro. I was talking about fucking freestyle music or whatever the hell we were talking about.
Oh, leave that, because that's like that might be the best part.
Whatever it is, you know what? Maybe I'm just gonna put this episode out raw and uncut, just like I like my man's.
Well, these 3 sloppy bottoms love it raw and uncut.
You know what? Wouldn't that be a challenge just to put it out as is? Or would that make us look really bad?
Yeah. Oh, she froze.
She froze.
I'm not frozen.
Oh, you said that really fast.
I'm not frozen.
You were frozen for a quick second.
You only see what your eyes want to see, but look at my face, I'm 103. I'm frozen. Okay, I think we got to end right there.